By now, it should be becoming clear that within Yiquan, solo drills aren't just something that we do because we haven't got someone to train with or we haven't got someone to hold pads for us. The power transmission in Yiquan is based around, or a key element of how it functions is this rebound energy that comes from setting the posture. And what we're trying to do with these solo drills is train ourselves to set the postures with steps and then increase the complexity of the posture so that we can ultimately use that as a foundation to build into intuitive ability to set the postures even with complex movements. And that's not always clear because, well, for a couple of reasons. One is that in the past, although people were training exactly like this, the complexity of the movements that they were using were much simpler. And that's usually because it was focused more around that original idea of self-defense. So you didn't need that many steps. Steps come into play, or more complex steps come into play when you want to do more complex things. For example, around sparring, which wasn't necessarily initially within the idea of Yiquan in the way that we understand it now. As we've said before, one of the things that made Wang Xiangjia, or likely made Wang Xiangjia very effective, is the thing he talks about himself, that he wanted people to come to him, to attack him, and that makes a lot of Yiquan postures a lot simpler to use. But if we want to do something more like modern sparring, then we need much more advanced footwork. We need to be able to move more fluidly to attack and not just defend. And that requires a more advanced level of setting postures, and that requires more advanced and complex combinations so that we can do that intuitively under pressure in more involved martial arts situations, including, for example, offensive movements in sparring. So keep in mind our key concept of emergence, which means that although one instructor might have a vision of what is possible in the next generation, they might not be exactly able to do that themselves, but they can make it happen in the next generation by bringing all of their knowledge together and creating a coaching paradigm that brings out better in the next generation. That's how each one's always functioned. So the further back in time you go, the simpler the training will be, the simpler the drills will be. So that's why we see those simpler drills in the past. They're still training how to set postures, just like in Xing Yiquan. It's a key Yiquan skill, but they're training it with much simpler drills. As Wang Xiangjai's student Zhao Daoxin says, if you're trapped in the paradigm of thinking that the older something is, the superior it is, then you're never going to get this. You're never going to get the concept of emergence, and you're never going to get the concept of why things move forward and why the drills are more complex now. And then the other problem is that in the modern world, we see so many Yiquan practitioners who only do practice on their own. So they've not heeded this warning from Wang Xiangjia that there's a limit to how much you can achieve with your own body. So even if you've taken postures like you see people doing Shili or Farli, and they've taken it to kind of an extreme within their own body, well, so what ultimately? That's just like being the best in the world at having sex with yourself. And the other problem, I think, is the pathologization of the concept of simplicity. So people thinking that something like friction steps, so what we would call a triangle step, thinking that that's enough. A step forward, a seeking step and a triangle step is enough footwork. Well, actually, it doesn't work like that at all. And those people don't really focus on fight practice, and that's why they think that's enough. And because of that, they're not really even within the process of emergence, because if it's not fight focused, it's not real Yiquan. So it becomes very easy to pontificate about simplicity because it is incredibly simple if there isn't an opponent in front of you, if you don't do any kind of real live training, and just to believe in your mind that you would be effective. And then you can just talk about simplicity and have no real skill, and have all the theory that goes with no real skill, and all of the outcome that goes with no real skill, which is no real skill. But if you're coming along this journey with me, well, we need to get back to real training and the real next level of emergence. So we need to start thinking about our solo footwork again before we bring it into working with a partner. And to do that, we're going to go back first of all to the proper echo step. So the the 4-step echo step, 1, 2, 3, 4. And we're going to add in this elbow posture. So let's have a listen at what that sounds like first. Because remember, we're still using that concept of learning through rhythm. So listen very carefully to the rhythm here. Let your body hear it. Not just you, not just your mind. Let your body hear it. Let it hear the set. And now look closer at the footwork so we can see the 4 step. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And again, look closely. 1, 2, 3, 4. So it's an echo step proper. Now look again, but this time look at the torso. See how it looks like I'm a little bit off balance? See, after the elbow and then back in. Actually, that's the body twisting back. That's the second thing we want to look at. I'm twisting round for the elbow, then I have to twist back. So this time we have to time that in with the posture as well. So also notice here from the front, first of all, that my lead foot is turned in quite a lot, and that's because I'm on the mud and it's really slippy and I'm gripping the floor like that. So that's another technique that you can learn. But what I want you to really focus on is this posture now. So from there, now this posture, 1, 2. See how the rear foot comes up? That second part of the echo step, and that masks the step for the second posture. And that's really useful. It's not the main reason why we do this, but it's really useful. And in particular, it's really useful for masking kicks. But we'll come back to that because it is slightly different with a leg kick. By definition, it sets on the rear foot because there's no other foot on the floor. But with this, it's what we call a distributed set that we've looked at before. So it doesn't land exactly along with the set is more complex than just one foot. It's distributed across the rear foot and the lead foot. But our harmony here is a perfect harmony, that the lead strike, in this case moving back to a jab, that should land at exactly the same time as the lead foot lands. So what I want you to do now is watch very carefully, listen very carefully, and learn primarily just through watching and listening. I don't want to get into too deep an explanation about everything. You can see what I'm doing at this stage. You should be able to pick it up just through physical demonstration. So watch carefully, listen carefully.